Eduardo Dingler here, Vice President of Wine, along with Laura Koffer, Vice President of Wine, and we have the tremendous pleasure of welcoming one of the biggest names, one of the biggest stars, and this is not even arguably, this is true, from Argentina and South America, Sebastián Zuccardi.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you to be here.
What a pleasure having you all the way in Napa. I know this is a long trek for you, and you've been a huge ambassador of the area and proposing a lot of fun stuff. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how Zuccardi started.
Okay. As you said, I live in Argentina, in Mendoza, in the Uco Valley. Argentina is a quite unique country in terms of wine history, because I like to say that we are old world in new world, because we have a long history making wine. If you talk about Torrontés, that is the wine that you are pouring, was something that happened when the grapes arrived in the 16th century, that then crossed some grapes that arrived with the colonization, and Torrontés is our native grape that we have in the area. And then we have it at the middle of the 19th century, a big immigration from Italy and from Spain, and they brought the tradition really to drink and make wine. So Argentina has a long culture about wine, and it's why I like to say that it's old world in new world, because we drink wine. If you come to our country, people drink wine. I'm the third generation, and my grandfather started in the 63.
Wow.
It's nice the history, because he had a building company and he didn't have any relationship with wine.
Okay.
But in his building company, he developed a very efficient irrigation system. Where I live is a desert. The only way to cultivate is with irrigation. And he bought a piece of land with the idea to show to other growers how his irrigation system worked. But luckily for me, he fell in love. He discovered that his passion was agriculture. And he decided to continue with the building company, but continue planting vineyards. But then when my father joined the family, was my father the one that said, okay, no, I don't want to dedicate my life in the building side, I want to dedicate my life to make wine. And really was the first growing of the family. But today we are the third generation on board, and happened that each of us, we are three in the third generation, give a new dimension to the family. Me in the wine, my brother in the olive oil, and Julia, my sister, in the hospitality. We have 3 restaurants in our properties.
Amazing. There's a lot to talk on, a lot of questions I have about that. But salud.
Well, cheers.
Salud. Wow. What a pleasure. Torrontés, I mean, nobody does it better, nobody does at Torrontés. I mean, maybe here and there, but
Torrontés is a native grape in Argentina.
And that's it.
You have no Torrontés in any other place in the world. It's a grape that was the cross that happened in Argentina between 2 grapes, Listán Prieto and Moscatel de Alejandría. It's why when you taste Torrontés, you have all these Moscatel aromas in the nose, because one of the parents of Torrontés was Moscatel de Alejandría. And it's the most planted white grape in Argentina. So when you drink Torrontés, you are drinking part of the history of Argentina.
I'm curious, in your restaurants, what do you pair this with?
And in Argentina, if I have to tell you, the traditional pairing is with empanadas.
Oh, say no more.
But I think works better with seafood.
Tell us a little bit about this, baby.
We make mountain wines.
Okay.
Everything that happens in our wines is in relationship with the mountain. Mountain wines, and the second word, in order to explain this wine, is diversity. We have a big diversity in climate and soil conditions in the Uco Valley. This comes from a specific place that is San Pablo. San Pablo is one of the highest areas in the Uco Valley. In particular, this vineyard is at 4,500 feet of altitude. But the uniqueness is that the vineyard is very close distance to the beginning of the mountain. So makes San Pablo, if it's not the coldest, one of the most coldest place in our area. Really, the temperatures during the night are extremely low.
And was it your decision to plant Chardonnay here?
When I planted this vineyard, was in 2013, and I felt that was a very good place for whites. So we planted whites, and mainly Chardonnay, because we believe that it's a cold climate with very calcareous and stony soils. And I believe that Chardonnay is the grape that has better adaptation to this place. If you see the bottle, we don't put Chardonnay in the front label. We put the grape in the back label, because we want to talk about the place.
I mean, it's one of those Chardonnays that outside of Burgundy and certain parts of Oregon and Sonoma Coast really resonate. It's got the tension, the verb. It brings you to a place.
A Chardonnay in Argentina was something very oaky, with full malolactic and with a lot of bad tonnage. And when we started making Fosil, our idea was change the way to vinify the wine. So this is a wine that was fermented and aged in concrete. We don't use oak
at all.
No, nothing. 100% concrete.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, and that takes us to, one of the kings, right? This is the Concreto Malbec.
This is a wine that changed my life making wine.
Why
Really?
is that?
If I have to show you a wine from my range, not going to our top wines that talk about our feeling in the Uco Valley or our vision in the Uco Valley, is this wine. When we started with this wine in 2014, our challenge was avoid sweetness and focus on texture. We wanted to show that our place has freshness and texture. So this was the first wine that we did in our winery, our new winery in the Uco Valley, and it's a selection of the most stoniest soils of two areas that has a lot of calcare in the soils, that is Gualtallarí and Altamira. So this wine comes from altitude between 3,500 meters to 4,500 meters. But really we pick soils that the stone is very shallower and we have a higher level of calcare. And then the fermentation is 100% with the whole bunch, because we want to have the stem during the fermentation, because we believe that the stem brings the message from the soil. And the wine was fermented and aged in concrete. So
hence the name, Concreto.
Yes, the name is because we started in 2009, but we started in 2009 working with Concreto, but we built our winery in 2014, 100% concrete.
Wow. Gorgeous.
All the wines that we are going to taste were fermented and aged in concrete.
No oak in any of these?
No oak in any of this. Wine is the place, and then how you manage the vineyards. Then you can make a great wine in concrete or a disaster in concrete, the same in oak. But in our philosophy, where we are looking to show the place in the most pure and transparent way, concrete is a material that gives us many things. First, don't give any taste and any flavor.
Right.
Second, it's a material that has less microoxygenation than oak. We live in a place that we have a lot of sunlight, so we don't need to open the wines. We need to close the wines. And less microoxygenation, in my view, give us the possibility to keep the energy of the wines. Third, is a natural material. All is made with sand, stone, water, and cement that come from the Andes mountain. So the connection between the place and the winery is complete. And the fourth is has very thick walls, so the manage of the temperature is much better. Remember that we live in a place that the nights are cold and the days are warm.
So now we're in the 2019 Aluvional Paraje Altamira.
Yes. Every time that we go up in our wines, we try to be more specific about the place where the grapes are coming from. So in Concreto, we are talking about the Uco Valley. Now we are going to talk about one of the areas in the Uco Valley, that is Paraje Altamira. Paraje Altamira is a special place in the Uco Valley because it's in the south, 3,500 feet of altitude, but it's the south of the Uco Valley, so the nights are very cold. And it's the beginning of the alluvial fan. I told you that the soils were formed because we had big glaciers in the mountain. These glaciers melt millions of years ago, and all the material came from the Andes mountain to the flat area, pushing the material. When you are closer to the mountain, and especially in this part that is the biggest river and the beginning of this alluvial fan, we are going to find a very rocky place. The rocks are huge, and the magic is that the rocks are volcanic, but are surrounded by a thick layer of calcare. Wow. Because when the Andes mountain crashed, part of the Andes mountain was under the ocean and part of the Andes mountain was out of the ocean. So the geology of the mountain is very diverse. When the alluvial movement brought material from the Andes to our areas, mix all this material. So we have a unique combination in the soils. And Altamira is one of the areas because the position with the river that has the most stoniest soils and the highest quantity of calcare. Again, Malbec, but if you see the label, we don't put the grape in the label, like in the Fosil and like in Piedra Infinita, because we want to talk about the place.
Wow, that's a beautiful wine. I mean,
I'm just
silky, fun.
Right open. You just opened it, and it's so aromatic. There's like florals. There's some savory notes. There's spice that comes through, and it's it is all the grape, right? And it's all just freshness and so much length on the palate.
Where do you see Zuccardi in the next 50, 100 years as a generational? Obviously, your kids are little, but maybe hopefully they'll take over. And what do you see?
So this is the first. I'm seeing the family cultivating there. Second, we are people that love the vineyards. Our passion is manage the vineyards. If you come to our vineyards are gardens because we have an obsession with the manage of the vineyard. So I see the family keeping this passion for the vineyard. And then my feeling is that we have a definition of our style. Our style is a style of wines that is talking about the place, that we are reducing the influence in the winery, that our challenge is that the wines show the uniqueness of the place where we live. I'm not looking to make a perfect wine. I'm looking to make a wine that talk about the uniqueness of our place. And I think we have a lot of work to do in terms of continue improving our knowledge in the places where we are living.
Are there specific challenges like with climate, with water, that you foresee being the things that may, slow down those incremental improvements?
We are talking a lot
for
about
Mendoza in general.
We are talking a lot about climate change in general. I think our challenge talking about climate change maybe will be the availability of water.
Yeah.
Because in the last 13 years, 11, we had less snow than the historic average. But in the other hand, I believe that we have a very good things to face the climate change, because in short distances we can change the altitude. When you change the altitude, you are moving to cooler weather. The other thing is that we can manage the water more efficient.
Better, yeah.
Yes, because you have many areas that continue irrigating with flood irrigation.
Oh.
With flood irrigation, the efficient of the use of water is very low. When you move to drip irrigation, you improve the level of and then managing the vineyards, density of plantations, the orientation of the row, the way to irrigate. So I believe that maybe the challenge is through the water, but I think that we have very good conditions to face this.
And a little bit about Piedra Infinita?
Piedra Infinita, we are jumping to our finca level. When we talk about finca in Argentina, we are talking about single vineyard. But I hate the word single vineyard because we have a beautiful word that is finca. When you say finca, you are talking about one property. This property is one of the most important properties of the family, and the name Piedra Infinita, that means infinite stone, is because to plant this vineyard we took out 1,000 tracks of stones in the property. Again, we are in Altamira. Do you remember that I told you the first part of the alluvial fan? So the water there had a lot of energy. So the quantity and the size of the stones that the water pushed to the area were huge. So we had to remove many stones. But the magic of the place is that you have a big diversity of soils, because all the movement of the alluvial fans were very disorganized. So the soils can change every 15 meters. So we started in 2009 a work that was divide our properties by soil. Today, after many years of work, Piedra Infinita is a 38 hectares property divided in 46 different parcelas.
Whoa.
To make this wine, we do a selection of the parcelas where the stone is shallower, because we want the effect of the granite stones surrounding by a calcare thick layer. And we vinify all per separate, and then we do a blend between 5 to 8 parcelas in order to look for the highest level of precision that we can express each year in this property. Is Malbec 100% with whole bunch, fermented and aging in concrete.
My thought in the way that we tasted the reds is that in some wineries, in some regions, as you go up in their, levels, it gets richer. I think for me, the minerality stepped up in each wine. It got more of that minerality, more of that texture, more of the stoniness came through as we moved up the line, which I thought was really interesting, more energy. So it wasn't that they just got richer and bigger, which is kind of, sometimes people expect that. The minerality amped, you just cranked it up as we moved up the line.
But what you say is important, because if you see our beginning of wines and our top level of wines, maybe the vinification is the same. What changed? The size of the parcels that we are using. We talk about the Uco Valley, then about the villages in the Uco Valley, then about some areas inside of the villages, fincas and parcelas. But the it's changing the place, but not the way that we do the interpretation.
They are speaking the same language, but maybe a little bit louder.
And for us, this is very important.
It's beautiful.
It's the fingerprint of our cosmovision about the place where we are cultivating.
So this has been enlightening. It's amazing being fans, not only us, but the whole team at our members for Wine Access for years, and have you at the office and talk a little more in depth. Last time was with Vanessa, but now we get to have the pleasure.
What a treat to taste through these wines with you. Really,
super
really
fun.
an
One last thing, if you can actually gift us a little autograph somewhere there, so we can have a little record of your visit. And
you are invited to visit us. It's much.
I'm dying to go back.
It's easier to explain all this.
No, yeah,
facing
we need to be looking at
the
the
Andes
mountains.
mountain.
We'll be there. Count with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salud.
Salud.
And thanks for sharing all this amazing wine.
Yeah, beautiful.
Cheers. Thanks, Laura.